This is a real love poem. This is called A Springwear Lover. Nubile green still wet behind the ears, she wears the prettiest flowers. Upon her chest she presses dead leaves and young grass, pushes up against the cold expanse shadowing her. Budding bulbs in her hands, she dons pants made of slick, wet mornings. She flirts a lot. Dripping colors, she makes a brief appearance to greet the guests, to say hello and make them love her again, begin to depend upon her presence. Then she retreats, takes her flirty smile, warm breath, and well-placed hand on your thigh, with her. It's been 273 days since I last saw her. She showed up when I wasn't expecting, knocked on my front door and asked, "What are you doing?" I wasn't doing anything, but I wasn't sure. I wanted her to know how I'd been doing nothing but waiting for her return. I wanted to be busy. "I'm working," I wanted to say. "I'm too busy for you." I wanted pencils to fall from behind my ink-stained ears. I wanted papers to be stuck to me. I wanted to shout, "I'm writing! Leave me alone!" But I had been waiting for when she would show her face again, for when I would see her and thaw. She's beautiful and fucked up. She says all the right things. "I love you. I missed you. I didn't mean to hurt you." But she lies to herself about her own limitations. She can be around only some of the time. It's her nature, who she is. The girl who never fails to make me ache, the one whose name I take upon my lips, the word that slips from my mouth, the dark, fertile hand on my hips, the face I forget is more beautiful than I remember. On the 21st of the month, she knocked on my window, scared the wits out of me the way she was suddenly there, smiling and goofy looking. She produced a hand spade and clippers. "Let's work in the garden," she suggested. "It's too early to work in the garden," I complained. She ignored me, began to cut away the dead stems from the flowers, brushed back the leaves covering the budding plants. I put my hands in the dirt, dug around a weed and pulled. "Why are you crying?" she asked. She pushes up the beginning with her hips, holds me there in her heat, pulls back and lets me cool off, only to do it again and again, wet with slick morning. Always, I am waiting here for her. She will leave me again, and then return when I have lost all belief in warmth and lengthening days. She will offer me wildflowers and weeds pulled at the roots, dirt dangling from the thin threaded knots she's wreaked havoc upon. She'll laugh at my reluctance, remind me she has only so much time. She'll take my face between her soiled hands, smudge dirt across my cheeks and smile. I will follow her into the garden. This is anti-love poem. Don't talk to me about love. These words, "I love you," like stale, hard, heart-shaped confections boxed in pale pink-colored cardboard, sicken me now. These dusty Hallmark card sentiments, "You're my favorite, be mine, I love you forever," crumble with age to thin, unforgiving pieces. No. I don't want your box of chocolates or pretty flowers, your cliched poems, your undying devotion wrapped in small, pitiful ribbons. I'd rather have the blade, the sharpest edge of you, so I might know just how lethal you are. I'd rather stare into your dark barrels, your murderous eyes, and kiss your lips to die for until I die. I want your generous thighs between my legs, your full breasts in my face. I want to suck on the hardest parts of you until you cry, because no one has ever swallowed so much. I want to push you to your limits until you balance there, uncertain, afraid, and then dive headfirst suicide into unknown territory. And I want to be where you land, broken and yet alive. I can promise you, you will never hurt this much again. I will stab you in your back and I will lick the knife you plunged into my flesh. I will bore you to tears and sit listening while you bore me. I will stand toe to toe with you, unblinking in the face of your disaster. Forget this ethereal, wafting, inconstant love. I want blood, baby. lungs, tongue. Lips, lungs, tongue. I'm smoking a cigarette outside the airport when it raises its head, curls, then snakes its way to my inner ear, settles there, sounding soft and sanctimonious. You make a living from your lips, your lungs, and your tongue. I hadn't thought this way before. My lips, my lungs, and my tongue. Everything hinges on my body parts moving, working as involuntary gestures, or at least the way I will them, and I'm smoking a cigarette outside the airport in white, cold Michigan. If you can call it irony, it doesn't escape the mental recesses where my inner cynic resides, but resounds there, reverbing like a childhood taunt that won't shut up. You're stupid! I'm smoking a cigarette, addicted to dying in small fragments, tiny fractions of time. And the way I pay my rent is to peddle my lips, my lungs, and my tongue to anyone with spare coins and a microphone. I've tried other occupations, and they suck. So honestly, I don't even need the microphone. Just the cash and a room of my own where I can smoke and write poetry. Contrary to popular... Call me a hypocrite. But outside the airport terminal, I refused to drop the cigarette. Even as I thought to quit the habit, I took a final drag from the carcinogenic tip and lit another one. Contrary to popular belief, dying isn't the opposite of living. Killing is the opposite of living. Whether you're killing yourself or someone else, whether you're cutting an artery or shooting the guts of an enemy, you might be breathing, but you ain't living. This isn't an anti-killing poem, I promise. I believe a little killing is necessary. I believe in killing in moderation. Killing in self-defense. Killing to eat. Killing so I can sleep better at night feeling safer, because while I personally am doing no killing, killing is happening so I can live without thinking about killing. Lips, lungs, tongue. Sometimes I lie. Obscure the facts, omit the details, just so I can convey the truth. Sometimes I stand in a crowd of strangers and recite poetry with the kind of certainty and predictability that suggests I've rehearsed every gesture, memorized each line, honed the presentation of poetic verse. I want to give it to you hard, then soft, hard, then soft. It's a living. A way of breathing by holding my breath, a way of seething and out-talking death. People have died for less than poetry, and is poetry worth killing for? Lips, lungs, tongue. I've got to quit smoking.